she started hyperventilating, crying, not wanting to leave the house. That was me this morning. That's me a lot of mornings as I suffer from severe anxiety. And whilst it's mostly greatly managed these days, there's lots of things you may not realise about anxiety. Now, if you suffer from anxiety, the first thing is you are not alone. So no matter how that anxiety manifests in someone, you are not on your own. I can tell you that now. People think because of what I do, I'm very extrovert, whether I'm leading dance classes, working in the media as a journalist, or on YouTube. But actually I'm quite an introvert, and I don't like to say suffer, I thrive with anxiety. Anxiety on a morning can be really high because our cortisol, stress hormones are really, really high as well. So I find a really great way to kind of shake this off is to physically shake off the anxiety, whether you want to dance, move, stretch, whatever it is. Moving off that anxiety can really, really help, especially on a morning. There might be trigger points in your day, and actually taking a break is my third thing, can really help. We think when we've got anxiety just to stew on that one matter, that one thing that's in our head, and it's very easy to do this. And it's that analysis by paralysis by analysis even. And actually, just by taking one step forward, we can actually help to overcome or at least allay some of the anxious feelings. I knew this morning I did not want to leave the house, but once I did, and once I started jogging to work and got going and started to see people, I knew I'd be okay. And it's taken me the whole day to kind of ease it off. But now I'm here doing this live, and I've just done an Instagram live at our new group, Women's World of Wellbeing. So you can ease and you can function, and actually you can thrive. I don't think I'd have my skills vocally or even being able to share what it's like having anxiety. But I'm a big believer in that not one size fits all when it comes to mental health. So that's my fourth thing. When it comes to anxiety, mental health issues, whatever, I always say depression wears lipstick, depression wears makeup-free days, depression wears crying faces, depression wears smiles. It's the same with anxiety. We don't know how it manifests. Yes, there are typical signs that somebody might be suffering from anxiety, but everyone is an individual, and we all have mental health, we all have physical health, and it can manifest in different ways. 5, a thing I personally found useful, now I'm no expert, these are just what I found useful, is breathing, focusing on the breath. Because when we're anxious, we tend to trap our breath up here, and you feel it within your body. And actually just focusing on those belly breaths. So I did a great yoga session with my friend this morning who I was working with, and she does the lion's breath, do you know, where you're taking a deep breath in and then you're going and just letting it all go. Whatever breathing techniques work for you, you can release it by just doing something to take your mind off it. 6, I think the statistics like 80% of our worries we'll never even realise, they'll never even happen. It might even be even more, you'll have to correct me on that, do comment below, but they won't happen. And yes, this morning if you'd said that, I'd be like, no, but they will. And I was physically shaking and crying. And it's very hard at the time to see that, but when we do have those moments of peace, those moments where we're doing breaths, we can realise, okay, by refocusing our mind, focusing within our body rather than external pressures and triggers, then actually that can really, really help. 7, we often feel anxiety in our bodies. So I know how tense I feel when I'm getting anxious. or that I'm pacing around for me, so I can't sit down. As I've said before, if I know someone's coming round or I'm going to see someone, I've struggled to sit down. So I am learning, and it is a journey with all mental health issues. I've had anxiety for as long as I can remember, but I do thrive off it. I have a nice energy, but I have to just make sure I curb it. So I push myself out of my comfort zone each day, because I know that once I do, I'll get into that flow and I can continue. And you can thrive when you've got mental health problems. But 7, get support, because honestly, there is no problem that once it is shared with the right trusted people, whether that be professionals and you go to your GP to get professional help, or you call Samaritans, or there's other helplines. I think it's like Anxiety UK, where we are in the UK, or wherever you are. Calling those helplines can really, really help, because it just takes your mind off it, and also they are trained advisors who can help kind of coast you down if your anxiety is really, really hard and you're really, really struggling with it. So remember, there is support out there, or a trusted friend, someone who you know that will pacify some of your anxiety rather than add to the burden. My poor father gets billions of WhatsApp voice memos, as do some of my trusted circle. Just those people who can give you a sense of reality and what it is you actually need to fear, or not fear often is the case, but with our anxious mind we just go on to this like high adrenaline state, fight or flight situation, and that's where it can then keel over into feeling small symptoms of trauma as well. Now again, number 9, caffeine. I know how much I am a caffeine queen by trade, by birth, I'm sure, because that's my main vice. But by reducing my caffeine intake, that's really helped my anxiety, because caffeine naturally makes our heart palpitate and we feel worse and everything feels overwhelming. I know it gives this the instant kick, somebody speaking perfectly imperfect, but actually it's doing the opposite. It can really boost our cortisol levels and boost our anxious feelings. So often if you've ever had too much caffeine, that's how I would describe my anxiety feels like. When you've overdosed on caffeine and you can feel your heart palpitating, you feel a bit clammy, you feel sweaty. That's often how anxiety feels like on a whole new level. 10, having a routine that you do no matter what. So for me, I know that I have to do my morning routine to get myself out there, to get myself working and functioning. The same on my evening. After this, I'll probably switch off from any social media, unless the scheduled posts, because then again, that's another trigger for me. If I see it on an evening, that can then keep me up all night, because we need good sleep, especially when it comes to our mental well-being. So actually creating times where we know we are more likely to be stimulated or get triggered, like for me it's on a morning and an evening, so I make sure they're like my sacred times where I'm doing things, whether it be my writing and studying on an evening or my exercise on a morning, working out a routine that works for you. Because often when we're anxious, it's hard to make decisions, it's hard to think straight, it's hard to see the way forward. But actually, if we know that we've got a step-by-step guide that we just need to do, trying to do it without thinking, because that's the other thing with anxiety. If I were to sit in bed and just think through my day, I wouldn't be able to get up. It's just to start moving and start going through those actions, and then it will get better. So I always say, and as my therapist used to say, the wave will pass. So we might have this big crescendo of feelings, but then it will pass. And this is the same with if you've had like addictive feelings or feelings, you know, where you crave something. You can feel, it might be a negative behavior, you can feel this wave and then you just got to ride through the wave. And often it's said that actually most of our emotions would just last kind of 90 seconds, a lot of them, if we actually ride the wave and feel our emotions and work through them rather than just trying to shut them out. It's not there. Don't get me wrong, with the anxious mind, sometimes we do need to take a step back and actually just go, I can't think about that now. I can't deal with that now because it's too much. And honestly, one step at a time, you can thrive when it comes to your mental health. And even when we're honest about suffering from anxiety, depression, but please do get support, get professional support, get some guidance, because there is support out there. But as I said at the start, you are not alone. So please don't be ashamed. People wouldn't believe that, like, you know, I've had photo shoots where I've been modelling and I've been crying in between because I've just been so anxious if my anxiety's been triggered. Or I've had times where in the morning I literally am, like this morning, hyperventilating if something set me off. So again, never assume that you're on your own, because you're not. Send you so much peace, so much love, and so many shimmies. I'd love to hear your story. You can find me on social media at Sophie Stories, or definitely at the Sparkle Coach anyway, which is more my business stuff. But don't forget to join us on Women's World of Wellbeing group over on Facebook. That's a free group including all women to be well, because one of us might be really good in certain areas, like I'm really motivated on a morning to be physically fit, but then I might not be so good in another area. Sleep, that's something I'm getting in, which is why I'm reducing social media time, because again, that can trigger. So notice what your triggers are when it comes to anxiety, and you don't even need to suffer from like severe anxiety. You might just, something might set off your stress, and we want to try and allay our stress where possible, because we know how bad it is for our health. So just do things that are right for you and work out a routine that works for you.